Top 6 storylines are going to be what my brain picked out from today. So there's a little sneak peek at it right there for you on screen. Give you a little taste of what's to come. But here we go. What's going to be number 6?
It's JP, 26 for the studio. Hey there, JP, to the 6 storylines we go. Not going to cut that girl a haircut, boy.
The number 6 storyline from NFL Week 13. The rookie showcase. Anybody?
That's so funny. The last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
I mean, these guys were balling today, man.
Here the back, 1st and 10. And Cousins to the air. Intercepted. Picked off on the play by Still.
You talk about a culture change coming in with Jim Harbaugh coaching, and now with Joel Ortiz running the front office. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Ortiz. But either way, however you pronounce it, he has done a phenomenal job putting this team together with limited resources, having to cut, well, I wouldn't say cut, but having to get rid of both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in the offseason and completely transform the identity of the team. And here you go with Ladd McConkey, Tarheeb Still. I mean, these guys have been flying for these Chargers the whole year. Christian Fulton and Asante Samuel, the normal starting cornerbacks for the Chargers, both of them have had a little bit of injuries, a little bit of banged up this year. Tarheeb Still's come in and stepped in. And this dude, I mean, he can go. There's a couple things that I wanted to go over with him specifically, but let's just go to the numbers from what we saw today from these young Chargers. So Ladd McConkey, 9 receptions, 117 yards. I bring him up not just because he had a big 100-yard game, but he has become clearly Justin Herbert's favorite weapon in this offense.
13, just caught one for 7. Edwards had a run of 9. 3rd and 8, and they get the first down. Who else? Ladd McConkey.
He has become Justin Herbert's Keenan Allen, if you will. It's his security blanket. It's the guy that he knows is going to separate. He knows where he's going to be. He knows that he's always going to be quarterback friendly and come back to the ball. Ladd McConkey has been so impressive this year that he has completely justified the top of the 2nd round selection that he ended up receiving from the Chargers this year, and then some. And I'm sure there's a few teams in the 1st round that now are a bit upset they passed on Ladd. So well done, Ladd.
Job well done, lad.
But yeah, so anyway, great job, Ladd McConkey. And as far as Tarheeb Still, you talk about a guy that's been filling in for these corners like we were just talking about, coming in and absolutely exceeding the expectations you could possibly have for a rookie. He adds 2 interceptions today. He gave up a couple catches here and there, but I mean, the guy just attacks the ball, and that's what you want out of a corner. You know, you can gamble a little bit as a corner as long as you're going to pay that off with enough interceptions, and he does that and then some. It's not like a guy that he's getting lucky on these either. He's really reading it.
Cousins. And intercepted. This could go all the way. It's gone. Still, you can kiss him goodbye. Touchdown. 62-yard return. And a pick 6 thrown by Kirk Cousins.
And if you're the Chargers, you got to be excited because you got this guy as a rookie. He's already playing this well. He's not going to be losing some of the abilities that I've seen from him just watching him anytime soon. It's stuff that translates really well into a guy's NFL career. So a couple things I want you guys to pay attention to about this guy, Tarheeb Still, moving forward. Watch his eyes, okay? In the draft, a lot of times you're going to find players between rounds 3 and 7 that are really great players. The first 2 rounds are usually reserved for like freak athlete type guys, right? But they don't always pan out. You still have to have something other than that. But these 3rd to 7th round guys, they're still athletes. They might not be freak athletes, but they're still athletes. And if you can find the right ones, that's something that can really build a football team into a Super Bowl contender, when you can find these guys in the back end of drafts that are absolutely competing as if they are NFL veterans for years now.
Hey, defense! That was one hell of a job, defense!
He's so instinctive with his eyes, and it translates so well to a zone corner. Now, he can man up. He's got enough athletic ability to do that. But more so than that, he is just somebody who is a very smart player. And smart will always work at the professional level. And you could just see that. Watch his eyes. If you're a Chargers fan, I want you to keep your eye out for that. Watch this dude's eyes. Watch how much he sees things. He sees the game really well. He plays very well in zone. Just keep your eye out for this guy, because he is an absolute ball hawk. He goes for that ball. He is number one is getting that football away. He loves that mentality, and that plays really well onto this Chargers team right now. Loving the game by Tarheeb still. Ladd McConkey's been doing it consistently all year long. So bravo to these rookie Chargers. You guys showed out. Off to storyline number 5. What could that possibly be? Quiet.
But all I'm saying, they're gonna get a. I'm just. Which. Knock. Who's there?
The Minnesota Vikings are 10-2, and fucking nobody knows about it. No, but seriously, the Minnesota Vikings are 10-2, and it is the quietest 10-2 season I may have ever heard. I mean, it is completely muted. You don't hear a lot of people talking about them. Maybe because they're all the way up in Minnesota. Maybe because Sam Darnold is their starting quarterback. I don't know exactly. What I do know is their fucking uniforms are sick as fuck. And their fans get hyphy as fuck. When they're not booing their team that's 9-2 about to go in 10-2. Come on, Minnesota, be better than that. But this team has been rolling all year long. Even without Darisaw, they've been playing really well. So shout out to the Vikings. Shout out to Sam Darnold. Their defense being coached up by Beefalo has been performing all year long. He has got them boys dialed the fuck in.
And it is one-on-one. Murray keeps it alive. Kyler Murray looking to make magic. Heaves one. Murphy picks it off.
Just to kind of go over some stats here today for Sammy Darnold. How about 21 for 31, 235, and 2 touchdowns? No picks. Sammy Darnold's been playing so well. And in the pocket today in particular, Sammy Darnold was really, really money. I mean, sometimes when those good defenses are coming after you, you're going to have to sit in the pocket and you're going to have to deliver the football.
Scenario here for Minnesota. 2nd and 14. Linebacker blitzes. Kaiser White hits Darnold as he throws, but it's threaded through to Jefferson.
Even when pressure's around you. And Sammy Darnold did that all day. The Cardinals are a young, really good football team, and their defense is better than people think. And they were getting after these Vikings, and Sammy Darnold just made the plays that needed to be made.
Jones, those had the fumbling problems. Darnold will look to throw for it. Pressure from behind. Hits Jones out of the backfield. Redemption for Aaron Jones. Minnesota has come all the way back to top.
So let's give Sammy Darnold his love again, because this man got it done again in a clutch situation. So Sammy Darnold, Minnesota Vikings, I've said it on a couple of the past storylines that we've had, and I will say it again. I have been dead wrong about this football team since before the year. I had them last to win the NFC North, and so far they have made that look completely foolish. They have hung with those teams like nobody else could, and I could not have been more wrong.
What an idiot.
It turns out the NFC North is just really fucking good at football. Except for the Bears.
Oh,
Oh, no! We suck again!
Moving on. The number 4 storyline of the NFL season. Week 13. 2024. Let Russ cook. Actually, let Russ cook. No, Russ lit it on fire today. Talk about being wrong with the Vikings. How about me being wrong about this? I said to replace Justin Fields as he's playing right now with Russell Wilson. Oh, man, I just can't see it. And boy, was I wrong. This dude right here has been balling out. I owe Russ an apology. I thought the guy was pretty much washed and could not have been more wrong about that. He is playing probably as well as I've ever seen him play in his career.
This is the 10th play of the drive for the Steelers. Shotgun. Wilson fires. End zone. Calvin Austin.
If I'm being completely honest with you. Obviously, what he did for the Seahawks back in the day, people will remember. But just remember, the recipe for Russell Wilson winning that Super Bowl with the Seahawks was Russell Wilson being really good.
Second down and 8. Wilson sets. It's a moon ball, and it's caught by Pickens. Russell Wilson.
And then the Seahawks having an all-time defense. Well, obviously the Steelers got into a little bit of a shootout today, but it was a shootout that they were also causing turnovers in and wreaking mayhem on defense. So you'll take some points from high-powered offenses if you can steal some possessions and have your offense go back down the field. So their defense with TJ Watt, who, in my opinion, I'm going to just go ahead and say it, TJ Watt is the best edge rusher since Lawrence Taylor.
High-scoring affair. Burrow steps up. Oh, didn't see the defender. The ball is free. The Steelers pick it up, and they've got it. TJ Watt knocks it away. Watt has been the best in the business doing that.
And it's also the hustle. It's the extra effort. He was past him in the pass rush, and he retraced his steps. And when Burrow stepped up to his side, Watt took advantage and gets the strip sack.
And that's how I feel. I don't know what else you want me to say. Von Miller comes close to that list. He's right up there. But this guy, I've never seen anybody be as dominant in my lifetime of watching football. So this team has a real opportunity to go win a Super Bowl this year. For the first time in TJ Watt's career, they have a fucking quarterback.
Pittsburgh, second down and 5. Wilson steps up. Wilson avoids it, throws on the move, and finds Freiermuth for the touchdown.
And that makes the Steelers dangerous as fuck. Dangerous.
You ever done anything dangerous?
29 for 38, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick only. So a fantastic game for Russell. You talking about putting up over 400 yards, and I thought he was washed?
Wrong.
Shout out to Russell Wilson. Amazing game from you, man. So what could the number 3 storyline be? The bell cow battle goes to Barkley.
First down. Saquon. Oh, here he goes. Barkley at the 10, the 5, and the touchdown.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So anyway, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, 2 best running backs in the league right now, and I don't think anybody can dispute that. They shared the same NFL field today, and Barkley came out the victor, as did the rest of his Eagles team. The Ravens continue to lose close games. The Eagles continue to get their hot streak even hotter. Just to give you guys a little bit of the stats from this number 3 storyline. 23 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown for Mr. Barkley. 19 for 82 from Mr. Derrick Henry. And not a bad game from Derrick Henry by any stretch. I mean, that's over 4 yards a carry. But at the end of the day, Barkley had more yards. The Eagles were a little bit more dominant. Barkley had the touchdown. These guys are both leading candidates for Offensive Player of the Year, both AFC and NFC. Barkley got the best of the matchup today. So shout out to Saquon Barkley, who has finally joined a team that is worth a shit. And the Eagles are fucking flying high. Ravens have got to find a way to start winning more of these closer games. It seems like they have a tendency of either beating the shit out of teams or not really winning the close ones. You're losing these close games, and then you have Justin Tucker going through what he's going through. It feels like the story has kind of already been written on this team on what's going to happen, that they're going to lose a close game in the playoffs. I could definitely be wrong about that. Maybe they go on and they win the Super Bowl, but there's just something that feels like this particular team can't really get out of their own way, whether it be defensive breakdowns, whether it be bad penalties at bad times, whether it be their kicker, who's an all-time great, looking like the worst kicker in the NFL right now. It's just off, and I don't really know what they're going to do to exactly fix it. They have a lot of consistency issues. So that is my storyline, is that these two teams are kind of going in other directions, and these running backs, while both on an Offensive Player of the Year trajectory, one of them is ascending, the other one's cooling down a bit. All right, what is going to be my number 2 storyline from NFL Week 13? The fallen 49ers. Obviously, the Bills roll, and the Bills looked amazing. So congratulations, Bills. You continue to look amazing. Josh Allen so far is my first 3 quarters of the NFL season MVP. But really, the storyline for me is these Niners. I had an inkling before the year, and I told a couple of buddies of mine that I just thought that the Niners were going to be struggling this year because it seemed like they had lost some pieces on defense. And then, of course, Ricky Pearsall's story about him about to come back and the team rallying around him, and Ayuk gets his contract, and Bosa's healthy, and you got Fred Warner there, and you got George Kittle, and you still got Purdy. Trent Williams is the big boy is back in the fold, and I'm convinced a little more that, hey, you know what? Maybe I was wrong to pick the Seahawks. Let me walk that back and take these Niners in the division. And I should have stuck with my original gut feeling, because not only has their defensive line been thin pretty much all year long, but now they're starting to accumulate injuries and at pretty much the worst positions. You've had Brock Purdy getting injured this year. You've had Bosa getting injured. Trent Williams getting injured. Ayuk is out for the year. I mean, I could go on with other players, but you kind of get the point. These guys are complete difference makers for this 49ers football team, and not having them out there is going to make for a season to forget, and that's what we're seeing so far this year from these 49ers. I'm sure 49ers fans are not thrilled with how the season has gone so far, and the problem is, even though next year you're going to have a lot of these guys under contract because they got paid recently, they're not getting any younger. It's kind of feeling like they might need to rebuild, because in whatever way that means, in the NFL version of that, right? Like, you got to get rid of some contracts that aren't necessarily team friendly. Do whatever you have to do, but I just think that if the 49ers continue to walk this team out there next year without making some significant changes, they're kind of setting themselves up for a similar outcome next year. It's how I felt at the beginning of this year. It's kind of worked out that way. I would imagine that things are going to continue to move that way moving forward unless they start to kind of retool their team. So for me, this was a game about how great Josh Allen is and how awesome these Bills are and how cool snow football games are.
5% of the targets to Shaair completed. This is behind Cooper, who brought it in, pitched it back to Allen, who's going to go to the goal line and get in! No! Spectacular touchdown!
Oh my goodness! Come on, Mike, give it to him. Come on, that didn't just happen. Come on. That'll get you through surgery.
But really the story was about how the dominant 49ers that everyone's come to know over the last few years are no longer that team. And just to kind of show you guys some stuff about how much this team is struggling, just kind of like add on to those points that I was making there. 5-7 record this year. They've lost 3 in a row. And they've been outscored, more importantly for me, in the column that I was kind of more concerned with overall. 295 to 270 this year, which is obviously not what the 49ers are used to. I just don't think it's the same team. I don't think it's the same team, and I think they're going to have to make some changes. That's what I think. All right, number 1 NFL storyline. Drum roll, please. It is the Bush League player. Bush League player.
Here in the Texans-Jags game, you're going to see Al-Shaair come in and hit Trevor Lawrence as he was going down, and it is going down between the Texans and the Jags.
Full stop. This is one of the dirtier plays I've ever seen. I mean, he basically elbowed the guy in the face when he was giving himself up. And I've seen some people say things about how, well, he should have gave himself up earlier and all of those things. Take a look. That looks like plenty of time to me. All right? That looks like plenty of time to me. It looks like there's a good 5-yard gap between when Trevor Lawrence starts to slide and when he gets hit. And not only did he get hit, but he put his full body into it and threw his elbow at him while he's wearing equipment. He's wearing equipment, and he threw the equipment into his mask. So it's bang, bang. Off the elbow and equipment to the head hits the turf. I mean, that's so dangerous. And there have been people on Twitter saying that, oh, that's just football. He should have gave himself up earlier. He's got to stop him from getting the first down. No. See, this is why the NFL made the rule specifically that as soon as the quarterback starts his sliding motion, from the spot where he starts that sliding motion, play's over. So after he slides, the ref will do the job of putting it back where he started it, or at least in principle he should. Okay? But this kind of shit right here, that you cannot have that. Your quarterbacks have to be able to protect themselves and voluntarily get down, right? Like they have to be able to have that right to get down if that's what they think is their right, which it is according to the rules. Now, of course, this is not the first incident that this guy has been involved in, pertaining to something like this. Many of you Bears fans might remember.
Let's watch what happens in the scrum here. Al-Shaair gets up and a punch straight into the face of Rashawn Johnson, who was not in the game.
Earlier this year in week 2. You guys might remember. That's the game where Caleb supposedly snuffed CJ Stroud's advice or handshake or whatever after the game. But during this exact game, this is what happened during the game. So I don't know if there's a clearer example of a guy who needs to be set straight. And you guys can sit here and say it doesn't really matter because it's just the Jaguars, and the Jaguars aren't going to go to the playoffs anyway. And so what's the difference between Trevor playing and his backup playing? But the difference is he's a human being, and he just got his brain rattled like that. The difference is that despite the fact that the Jaguars may be out, maybe Trevor Lawrence being in there, they can kind of string it together. Maybe Trevor Lawrence ends up, spoiling the hopes and dreams of some other teams that are going to be getting into the playoffs. It doesn't matter. You cannot have quarterbacks getting hit like that when they think that they're protected. He thought he was completely protected when he went down. And he wasn't, because the guy took a complete cheap shot. That was a fucking cheap shot. Let's not make excuses for it. That's bullshit. You can't do that. And I'm going to tell you another thing. The way that he acted after that is fucking embarrassing. That's embarrassing, man. To sit there and after you just concussed a man on a cheap shot, to then start trying to shit talk the other team's players and shit talk the fans, have a little bit of humility, man. You fucked up. And there was no humility shown throughout it. So I say that the NFL, show him a little bit of humility. Show him what happens when you hit quarterbacks like that think that they're protected. I don't even care that it's a quarterback. It's just, if you tell a player that they're protected doing X and they do X and then they're not protected, it sets a terrible precedent. If they don't suspend the shit out of this guy, why the fuck wouldn't you do that to Josh Allen if you're somebody else? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't a guy that doesn't give a fuck do that? Fuck this guy, man. We're all trying to get paid. Let's fucking hit this dude. Does nobody remember Greg Williams? Are we going to pretend that people like that aren't out there? You have to punish it. You have to. And severely. That's really bad. That's not good. And it's a guy that already has a rap, if you ask me, for some of the nonsense that he's been pulling in other games. So normally I'm very, impartial on things like this. I try to understand where the player's coming from, because really defense gets pushed at a lot of disadvantage, but you can't defend that. That's not defensible.
Well, I'm guilty as charged.
Now look, man, we're not going to end it on a negative note. Just because this guy Al-Shaair was a bit of an asshole doesn't mean that we have to be in a bad mood because of it. All right?
Right. Yeah.
We got to end the program. And as everybody knows, these notes are for shooting, not reading, because I'm really not good at either, but I'm less good at reading.
It's JP, 26 for the studio. Hey there, JP, to the sex storylines we go. I'm gonna cut that girl a haircut, boy.
God bless you and your family. I love you guys. Take care of each other. Be nice to people. Pay it forward. Do something nice for somebody so they'll do something nice for somebody else. Just like that one kid in that one movie.
It's JP, 26 for the studio. Hey there, JP, to the sex storylines we go. I'm gonna cut that girl a haircut, boy. It's JP, 26 for the studio. Hey there, JP, to the sex storylines we go. Now cut that girl a haircut, boy.
God bless you and your family. I love you. Take care of your...